let's do a half-an-hour video about I'm just kidding, let's not. The Nashville Predators, Anaheim Ducks, and Montreal Canadiens all have 91 points apiece at the time I'm making this video. They're top of the league. And I'm gonna watch the whole playoffs with interest, but there is one team that I am really focused on right now. The St. Louis Blues have to win this season. Now wait, don't get confused. I'm not saying the St. Louis Blues will win or the St. Louis Blues are the favorite. I'm just saying these first and second round exits are getting a little old and it's time for the Blues to graduate. 2011-12, the Blues looked great and steamrolled by the Kings like the Kings steamrolled everyone that year. 2013 lockout shortened season, the Blues looked great. They even came out to a 2-0 series lead over the reigning Stanley Cup champions in the first round. And they lose 4 straight, you're gone. Next season, 2014, the Blues once again find themselves playing the reigning Stanley Cup champions in the first round. This time it's the Chicago Blackhawks. And once again, they jump out to a 2-0 series lead. And once again, steamrolled. And once again, now in 2015, the Blues look very, very strong. Their goals for is one of the league's best. Their goals against is one of the league's best. Their shots for is one of the league's best. Their shots against is one of the league's best. Their face-offs is one of the league's best. Their power play is one of the league's best. Basically, the only thing they're not like elite at is their middling penalty kill. Their goaltending, yeah, Brian Elliott made the All-Star team. But once again, while his numbers aren't stellar, they're also not really that bad. So the Blues are strong this year, whatever. They've been strong the past few years. Why can they not afford to lose this one? I just look at the Western Conference landscape and I think the Blues can do this. Look at the two teams that have given them nightmares over the past few seasons. The Chicago Blackhawks, at the end of the day, are the Chicago Blackhawks. They're an extremely strong team, one of the best in the NHL. But they don't have Patrick Kane. And at the end of the day, the Blackhawks, even without Patrick Kane, are still pretty unreal, but they don't have Patrick Kane. At least not until round 3. And if things stay the way they are, the Blues will get the Blackhawks in round 1. The Blackhawks are still good, but if you can't beat them now, you can't beat them. Then I look at the LA Kings. Here's the thing about worrying about playing the Kings in the playoffs. They're not in a playoff spot right now. I mean, the Western Conference is so tight, the Kings could pass the Flames any second now, but right now, they're not there. But let's say they do make it. Let's say the LA Kings make the playoffs and it's in the final wild card seed, we'll say. It's entirely possible that the Blues pass the slumping Nashville Predators and the Blues get the Kings in round 1. Still, the journey that the Kings had to take to get to the playoffs. And the Kings just don't look like the Stanley Cup champion LA Kings right now. I mean, maybe they're just being deceiving. That is kind of their act. But if you're going to beat the LA Kings, you need to beat them this season. Like, the thing about winning the Stanley Cup is it's super hard to do. So you gotta find a way to beat those teams that have beaten you before. The Blackhawks, the Kings, teams that are currently leading their divisions in the West, the Predators, the Ducks. And in terms of Canadian content, you don't want to sleep on the Canucks, Flames, or Jets either, because you know what? That'd kind of be an upset, wouldn't it? And then I look at the Minnesota Wild and I wonder, how much longer can Devin Dubnyk play like he's Carey Price? And then there's whatever you get in the East. Who even knows what's going on there? Look, my point is this. I'm not saying the St. Louis Blues should be a Stanley Cup favorite. All I'm saying is that if the St. Louis Blues cannot win this year, they may not win at all. The Blues for a few years now have had this nice balanced attack where players like barely even crack the top 30 in NHL scoring, but the whole team is scoring. Not to mention all the help they get from the back end. But now Vladimir Tarasenko has developed into a top 10 NHL weapon, at least this season he has. And then you look at the banged up and bruised competition the Blues have out west, and I don't know, I just think it's now or never. And also every year I gotta pick a Stanley Cup favorite and I'm like, you know what, those Blues are looking good, and every year they Blues it up. Maybe this year they don't. Do you think this is the Blues year?